What if you could travel back in time and ask your great-great-grandfather a series of questions? What drove him? What inspired him? Why he made key decisions in his life? What if you could take that information and harvest it for future generations, so generation after generation could learn from each other? Well, that's a basic idea behind the GenKeeper system. The GenKeeper system is a take-action tool that literally creates historical wealth for families. Hi, my name is Kevin York, creator and founder of the GenKeeper system. Before I go into the GenKeeper system, I'd like to tell you why I created the system. On August the 15th, 1996, I received a phone call. The voice was unmistakably shaken. Kevin, we're at your father's office. The police are here. An ambulance is on its way. Now, I knew by virtue that the police were here, an ambulance on its way. This wasn't good news. After a long pause, I asked, is he alive? I now realize that there was opportunity missed, opportunity to capture all the great stories, all those life stories my father had, and pass them down to my great-great-grandchildren. For me, that opportunity is gone. But for you, with the use of the GenKeeper system, it will happen. My father and I often talked about sitting down and going over the information, but there was one problem. There was always tomorrow. Because of procrastination, we always put it off. Well, the GenKeeper system starts by stopping procrastination. The first thing that we do in the system is you sign an agreement. Now, you see, the agreement says that we're going to start the GenKeeper system. This agreement is between two individuals that love each other, a father, a son, a mother, or a daughter. The agreement is a very important step in the GenKeeper system. What the agreement says is, Mom or Dad, you're so important to me that I want to capture the life stories, the expectations, everything that you went through in your life and pass it down to future generations. And because we might procrastinate and put this off, and you slide the agreement over and you say, what I'd like you to do is get your 100% involvement in this process. I'd like you to sign this agreement that says you're going to spend just 5 sessions with me, just 5 short sessions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a series of a lot of questions. And all I want you to do is be present and answer the questions. Does that sound fair enough? And you slide the agreement across the table and give them a pen and say, can I get your involvement? And your mother, father, they'll sign it. Now, when they sign that agreement, that starts the GenKeeper system. The first step is on its way. The second step is to make sure that that agreement is lived up to. And that's your job or your responsibility, whoever purchased the GenKeeper system. So what we do next is we send cards to the individual that you're going to be doing the interviews with. What we want to do is we want to send them the first card about a week before that session. The first card is just a reminder card. It basically says, don't forget that we have a GenKeeper session coming up next week, and it has the date on it. The second card you're going to send them is a simple rules card. There are 12 steps to how the system works. Now, I'm not going to go through all the 12 steps with you, but I will tell you the first step is a very important step. And that first step basically says that all during the interview process, I ask you a question and you don't want to answer it. You just say, skip the question. When you say skip the question, I'm going to go right on to the next question like that one didn't even exist. See, we're not going after who's right or wrong or what you did in your life. What we want to do is we want to get the basis of what your life was about. We want to get the stories that you want to pass down. So it's not who's right or who's wrong. It's the core values and beliefs that you had in your life. Now, the third card that you're going to send is a very powerful card. And it's a card that both the interviewer and the interviewee, both the people in the GenKeeper system, are going to send out to their friends and family. That card is basically the hello card. And what that card does is it explains exactly how the GenKeeper system works. It explains that there's this new treasure in our family. The new GenKeeper system, the system in our family, is a tradition that's going to be passed down from generation to generation. And we just want to let you know that this new tool is in our family. And because of that, we want to let you know that if you want to borrow this system when it's completed and listen to the audio tapes regarding, say, your grandmother or your uncle, whoever it might be, that we invite you to do so. Now, a funny thing happens. Although the card is intended to tell them that you bought this card for your mother or your father, what it really does is it tells them, hey, I care enough about my mother or father to buy this system. Why don't you do the same thing? So what happens is the internal family starts to purchase more and more of these systems, cataloging all the key individuals in the family. That's the power behind the GenKeeper system. Now, the GenKeeper system would be great if we just did that. But see, the problem is people are worth more than just their birth and their death dates, like a standard living tree or family tree. The GenKeeper system, in order to make it work, it has to be duplicatable. Generation after generation, this has to continue on. Chances are there's somebody in your family who was into genealogy, and what they did is they started a family tree. But the power behind the GenKeeper system is that it's duplicatable year after year, generation after generation, for hundreds of years. One person in each family is going to start the GenKeeper system, and from there it's going to spread from generation to generation. Now, in order to have that work, we have to make sure that the system is duplicatable. And the way we do that is with with another agreement. And that agreement basically says that for each person, for each family, there's going to be one person who is the GenKeeper, or the family scribe or the historian. Now, the GenKeeper used to be, in the past, used to be somebody like a historian or scribe, used to be some position was looked upon as an elegant position. Basically, they were encasing the entire family history and passing it down the line. But you see, a crazy thing happened. As communication has gotten better and better, we have gotten worse and worse at recording our information. So one person has to take responsibility in the family to be the family GenKeeper. And there's an agreement that says, for instance, in my family, I decide to pass this down to my son Christopher. The agreement says that when I pass on, or someday down the road, I'm going to pass responsibility from myself to my son Christopher, or Zach, or my daughter Emily. Now, that's a pretty powerful statement. I want to pass all the information on to you, and it's your responsibility to continue this process. Now, it is so important that you either sign the standalone agreement, or you sign the will agreement, a living will agreement. Now, if you have a living will, and I suggest you do have one, you take the addendum and you add it into your will. It's that important. This guarantees the continuation of the process from generation to generation. So we start off with the beginning, signing the agreement. We do the discovery process, asking the questions, interviewing the relatives or the family member or the loved one, recording those sessions onto audio tapes. Then we have a GenKeeper at the end who basically takes responsibility of continuing the process generation after generation. The GenKeeper system has been designed as a take-action tool. Within the cards, with the agreements, and the audio cassettes, it has been designed from beginning to end to ensure that this process is duplicatable. Somebody in your family is going to start this GenKeeper system at some point in time. What I'm asking you is, who's the leader in your family? Who's the person in your family who decides to start this family tradition, this growth, this wealth of information for your family? Who starts that information? I say it's you. Be that decision maker in your family who purchases a GenKeeper system and creates historical wealth for your family. Historical wealth is there at your fingertips. Generation after generation, we lose our loved ones, and it's a crime, it's a shame that we take that information and it isn't passed down. Be the decision maker. Purchase a GenKeeper system and be the leader in your family. My name is Kevin York. Again, I thank you and hope you well.